Hey guys, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. We have probably going to be on a while here. We got some severe storms back to the west of us, and looks like we may be on a little while. We got some warnings to deal with. Most of the warnings right now are back to our west. However, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that is scraping the north part of the county, very up at the very northern part of Davidson County, and that's a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until, let's see, that one up there is in effect until 7:30. So that's about another 40 minutes or so. So right now, and I know you're looking at that tornado warning off to the west. We're going to take a look at that here in just a second. But the reason we're on here at the moment is severe thunderstorm warning for the far northern tip of Davidson County. So this includes like the Lutens community up here in Davidson County, the Bakers area, the Lutens community up there, Ivy Point, Greer Road, up there along Licton Pike and over north of Joelton there, north of 24. And that is where Baxter Road there. Those are the areas, again, a very small area of Davidson County that are included in a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. Now, back to the west, though, we're looking at more severe weather coming in, and there's a tornado warning currently in effect back to our west in Humphreys County, parts of Dixon County. That's in effect until 7:15. And that's a severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warning is also in effect until 7:15 there in Humphreys and Dixon counties. So that is generally headed our direction. The Weather Service is noting that rotation perked up there in Humphreys County a little bit ago, and that's why they issued the warning there in Humphreys County. But that has since weakened, and so they're going to continue with the tornado warning there in Humphreys County going into Dixon County. And generally, if you take this out, if you kind of continue the path out, it's generally aimed at Nashville, but we're just going to have to see how this thing evolves over time. We haven't seen any rotation in the storms in the past, little while today that have had prolonged rotation that just kept on going. So it's been, it might spike a little bit and come back down. So we've seen that a little bit earlier today as well. So we'll see how long this tornado warning stays in effect for. Now, let's go over and look at a different radar here, and I'm going to pull up, I'll tell you what, let's do this, and let's look at the rotation back there to the west, and then we'll talk about this severe thunderstorm warning up to the north part of Davidson County. So I'm going back here to where the rotation, I want you to see this because I know y'all are talking about this or thinking about this tornado warning off to our west. There was a peak in the rotation there south of Waverly, and they issued the tornado warning, and so that has come down just a little bit. But we're going to keep watching that. But let's go back up here and look at the severe thunderstorm warning to our north, or at the north part of our county, Davidson County up there. And the main storm is up there in Robertson County, and it stretches down just to the northern parts of Davidson. And it looks like could be some strong winds with that, associated with that. And they're warning that for 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-size hail as the possibilities in that storm up there, mostly in Robertson County, but just covers the far northern part of Davidson. So there is a lot of lightning out there with these, and want to see if I can show you while we're kind of here and waiting on this storm back to our west to get here. This is a camera up in Gallatin, and this is actually a camera we've got on a tower up there and looking off to the west here. So this is looking at that storm over there in Robertson County, and which is warned there in parts of Davidson County on the far northern side, and quite a light show actually. Been watching this camera for a little while, and really quite a bit of lightning up there in mostly Robertson County, and it kind of scrapes the northern part of Davidson there as well. So again, if you're just joining us, let's go back to radar just a second. I'm going to keep an eye on the camera on another screen here, and the warning is in effect until 7:30. And this is a severe thunderstorm warning for the far northern parts of Davidson County. In fact, we just missed a big old lightning strike on that camera that I was showing just a second ago. Big light show there to the west. So anyway, I'm gonna pull that back up, and I'm gonna tell you kind of what I'm looking at on radar. So if you live up in the Bakers community, up in the Lutens community, those of you who live up there, you know where Freeman Holler Road, Baker Road is, Lower Walkers Creek, Licton Pike, Ivy Point, Greer Road. They're north of Joelton. You got Baxter Road and Coopertown Road, those areas up there. Those are you folks that are included in that severe thunderstorm warning till 7:30, about another 35 minutes or so. And then back to the southwest, we were looking at the tornado warning that does not include either one of our counties yet. That's back in Humphreys County and Dixon County. And so we're just going to stick with this. And even though the storm is just barely scraping Davidson County up to the north, it has the warning with it. We're going to stick with it because a lot of you have been asking questions and have kind of been wondering when we're going, when we're going live, and just kind of want us to kind of help you talk through it. And as far as what the situation is out there, so we're going to stick with it, and we're gonna kind of talk you through it. Let's go back to radar here, and sure as I take that camera off, you're gonna miss some big light show, lightning strike. But anyway, I'll watch it on another screen. All right, down in Williamson County, got a storm coming in. Actually, no lightning with it, but pretty heavy downpour coming through Thompson Station up toward Page High School there in Arrington. And it's not moving real fast, but that's just a little cell down there. Nothing really to it, just some heavy downpours. That's heading up toward Triune and Nolensville. But we're still watching this tornado warning back to the west, and checking notes from the Weather Service, because you can look at that and kind of tell that it's aimed toward the metro area, and so we want to keep our eye on that for sure. And let's go over and look at velocities while I'm checking notes from the Weather Service. There's really nothing new on it. And rotation does look like a little bit of an area of rotation there, just east of Bold Spring, maybe an area there that could be wrapping up a little bit. So just a couple of areas there to watch in that polygon, but the polygon there is in effect until, see, that warning out there is in effect until 7:15. So we'll see how that evolves as time goes on. This is a Velocity product. We use this a lot when we come on YouTube Live here and talking about warnings, because usually the warning is either for a tornado or it's for some kind of wind, straight line winds. And the Velocity product is how we determine all of that. So the radar actually can tell how fast raindrops, dust, whatever's in the air, how fast that's moving. And so we use this a lot when looking to see about the wind threat. And we're going to be using it a lot tonight. So get ready to talk about the reds and the greens and the blues and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be referring to that here after a while. So back to reflectivity here. We're looking at just kind of the traditional radar here, and some of you getting some heavy downpours there south of Franklin. They're along Lewisburg Pike between Franklin and the county line down there toward Bethesda. Nothing really to that cell, just a bunch of rain. Not seeing anything wild with it, doesn't seem like right now. So really what we're watching, if you want to know the main things we're watching right now, number one is this tornado warning back to our west. We're going to see how that evolves. The second thing we're looking at is this severe thunderstorm warning up in the northern, just the far northern tip of Davidson County, up toward the Bakers and Lutens community, up there on Ivy Point, the Greer Road area, Union Hill, that's what I was trying to think of. The Union Hill's up there, Baxter Road, Coopertown Road up there north of Joelton. So again, just the far northern tip of Davidson County is included in that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 7:30. And that's the other thing we're watching right now. Now, as we've been mentioning for the past couple of days, is we're a little concerned about the flooding threat with this. We got a lot of rain last night, and that's not news to anybody. Y'all saw the pictures, and maybe even in your backyard you had a creek come up high. That is, we had a lot of rain last night, and it came down very, very fast. Any heavy rain that we get, and this is very heavy rain coming in, is going to bring the creeks and streams back up after they've had a chance to sort of recede today. So, if you got a lot of rain last night, heads up for this coming in. Could bring those creeks and streams back up as we go through time. Getting a couple of reports here of some flooding up off to our northwest, I'm noticing. So, so that's another thing for us to watch. So, all right, well, let's kind of reset here. And I'm while I'm talking here, I'm reading some notes over here, and I'm also looking to see what David is tweeting. David's over on Twitter, tweeting right now, as he always is, and Will is taking your reports. So let's talk about reports just real quick. So on a severe weather day, severe weather night, your reports are tremendously valuable. I mean, we use them a lot. And the Weather Service loves to get these reports. So you can tell us exactly what's happening where you are. And if you can do it safely, if you see hail or wind damage, anything like that, funnel cloud, I mean, any of that stuff that constitutes severe weather, if you can safely report that to us, we would love to know. If you'll tweet and you'll use hashtag TSpotter in your tweet, we get that, and we get it pretty quickly, and we get it over to the Weather Service. If it's something that we feel that they need to know about, we kind of know what they're looking for, and Will does a great job of sending that over. So let us know your reports, and we'll be watching TSpotter, hashtag TSpotter, for your reports as we go through time. All right. Let's check the camera out again. Again, this is up in Gallatin. This is actually just a little bit north of Gallatin, and shooting back toward, this is looking toward the west, really toward the northern tip of Davidson County that's included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Quite a bit of lightning up there. It seems like every time I show this, you don't see any lightning, but there is quite a bit of lightning out there, right just barely north of the county line, and that's the storm that is considered severe right now. And it looks like the Weather Service has dropped the tornado warning for Dixon and Humphreys. So it looks like that tornado warning has gone away. Let's check it out. Yeah, so the tornado warning back to our west that was sort of aimed at us did not include us, but it was sort of aimed our direction. That has been canceled. So the Weather Service canceled that about 7 o'clock a couple of minutes ago. And severe thunderstorm warning, though, continues out that way. And severe thunderstorm warning also continues for the northern part of Davidson County. So if you're in Nashville, this is your storm back to the west in Dixon County. This is your storm here. If you are in Franklin, you got a little storm off to your east toward Nolensville, and you may miss this one up in Dixon County. So your storm might come back from somewhere in here later toward the Tennessee River. If you're up in far northern Davidson County, you're getting rain and storms right now, and you'll be dealing with rain and storms for a little while. All right, so checking up on a few notes here. I've got a few things going, and different messaging things going on here, so I'm making sure I'm not missing anything from anybody. All right, good deal. I think we're caught up. Okay, so let's back out again, and let's kind of look and see. I'm going to check this out down in Williamson County and just make sure that there's nothing too concerning down there. Not seeing anything, no rotation, anything like that. Let me check TB&A, and the reason I mention TB&A is, it looks like there could be an area of gusty winds here. I've seen this on both radars, actually, the Weather Service radar and TB&A. Looks like there's a small pocket of really gusty winds here, could be up, in the 60-mile-an-hour range, right there around Abington Ridge and Albany Point, Radcliffe, Cedarmont, some of those subdivisions there off of Highway 96, Murfreesboro Road there. So could be some gusty winds there. That's actually showing up on both radars. So if you get some gusty winds there around Trinity Park, Cedarmont, that's what that is. Just a real small localized area of strong wind. It actually appears that the Weather Service has canceled early, quite a bit early, the severe thunderstorm warning up in the northern part of Davidson. So that's good news too. Let's switch back over to this radar, and we're going to jump up there and kind of see about that. So it hasn't disappeared yet, but I believe they've canceled that. So this warning here that one won't disappear. It doesn't look like. The one for Cheatham, Davidson, and Robertson. Yeah, okay, so it has. It shrunk. So that only includes Sumner now. So Davidson has been excluded from the severe thunderstorm warning, and the only one back to the west of us is that one in Dixon County. So we're going to be watching that one very closely. And then we're also watching this storm. It's kind of getting its act together. down in Williamson County. And maybe just from a wind perspective, it's not too impressive, but it might have a little bit of wind with it, okay? So we're going to keep an eye on that as time goes on. Hey, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to jump off of here, going to kind of reset, and we're going to watch notes from the Weather Service and see if there's anything concerning that they want us to know about here in Davidson and Williamson counties. So we're going to jump off of here, and obviously if anything else changes or we get any other warnings in either county, we'll jump back on, okay? So it looks like there is a flash flood warning in effect for Davidson. Let me mention this. There is a flash flood warning in effect for parts of Davidson, pretty much the area that was covered by that severe thunderstorm warning earlier, but the far northern tip of Davidson County. And let me spend just a minute on this because there's a lot of hills and hollows up here. And so a lot of these roads, I'm going to turn the radar off. You see all these trees? This is a lot of hills and hollows up here. This is right at the edge of the Highland Rim. And a lot of these roads up here have creeks running beside them, okay? And so you can run into issues when you get some real heavy rain, especially flash flooding. We've seen many times these creeks come over the road and cause a problem. So if you're out there driving northern part of Davidson County, near the Highland Rim, the edge of the Highland Rim, a lot of hills and hollows there, that water can come off of there really fast. All right, so flash flood warning in effect for those folks up there until 10 p.m. All right, we're going to jump off of here. We'll jump back on. If there's any other warnings, we'll be back. Hey, we're going to stay with this. New severe thunderstorm warning, actually. Hope you're still with me. Severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County, and that's going to be until 7:30. So we're going to see a new polygon come up. All right. So we'll see that in just a second. Hope you're still with me, but we're going to continue severe weather coverage here on YouTube Live as a new warning just came out for Davidson County, and we'll see how much of the county it includes. So that should pop up here in just a second. We are going to stick with it right here and see where this covers. So severe thunderstorm warning was issued just moments ago for Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Montgomery, and Robertson counties. That's until 7:30, and that was issued just a couple of minutes ago. And there's your polygon that actually does include downtown Nashville, and it's for this cell back to the west in the Dixon County area. All right, so it includes pretty much good part of Davidson County, with the exception of like Creve Hall, Antioch, and Hermitage. Pretty much everybody else is included in this, and this is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible. All right, so if you're outside, you need to get inside, and you need to not be outdoors with this. You need to be sure that you are inside, taking shelter, from potentially straight line winds in Davidson County. All right, let's check out TBNA. I'm going to go check out velocities here. This is from the radar in Nolensville, and it has a pretty good read on this storm. And there are some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts in here. That's entirely possible. They're just south of Charlotte, and then just south of Dixon as well. Could be some gusty winds in there. It doesn't look overly impressive, but it looks like there are could be some gusty winds there, especially on the very front end of this as it's coming through Dixon. Could be some strong gusty winds there. So again, severe thunderstorm warning if you're just joining us. Severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County now until 7:30. And you folks down in Nolensville and Arno and Trinity and all that getting a heavy downpour now. That's for a separate cell down there in Williamson County. And this new severe thunderstorm warning is just for Davidson County. All right, so let's talk about how to prepare. If you are outdoors or you know somebody that's outdoors, be sure to get in and not be outside when this comes through. Let me catch up on a little bit of messaging here. I'll be right back. All right. Just catching up here to see any notes from the Weather Service and a couple of other notes just from other sources that we're collaborating and just making sure that we're all seeing the same thing here on radar. Okay, you are looking at, I know you've been looking at this for a while, but we're kind of watching radar here to see what, let's jump over to TBNA, looking to see what the winds are doing. And yeah, see some strong gusty winds here. Just north of Dixon, radar is looking at about a 53 mile an hour gust up there at about 2,500 feet. Southwestern Dixon County, 53 miles an hour. TBNA's reading it. You know, it's not at a great angle to read this real accurately, but it's, you know, it's not bad. That gives us a pretty good idea. Let's jump back over to the Weather Service radar and look there and see what it's reading velocity-wise. And really, you know, I'm seeing 40, 50 mile an hour gusts. That's pretty strong, but right on the front end of this is where you could get some of those really strong winds up in the 60 mile an hour range, right there on the front edge of the rain. And it's a wall of water. I think the big story here, at least for this moment in time, this very moment, is that it's a lot of water. All right, so there's a lot of water coming down with this. This is going to get the creeks going. I think we can say that for sure. That if these reds and yellows, but especially the reds and the purples there, if they come over your area, that's going to get the creeks going. So I'm especially concerned about the hills and hollows up here in northern Davidson County, up like in the Bakers area, Luton's, up there north of Joelton. There's just a lot of creeks up here that can be, that can not handle a lot of water coming down real fast. So this might get those going right here as it comes in from Dixon County. All right. So I see we've had several join us here in the past few minutes. Let me talk again about the storm down here in Williamson County. Not seeing any trouble with it. I say that, and there could be a little bit of could be just a little bit of rotation there, but that's kind of hard to tell. Radar doesn't have a great read on it right there, and I'm looking at it now. I'm switching over to another radar, and it's not showing it. Okay, so there could be some gusty winds down there in Williamson County, but not seeing anything particularly concerning right this moment down there in Williamson County. Okay, but this is a decent little cell that's going to put down some water, maybe a little bit of thunder and lightning, but is non-severe right now. The main severe storm is still back there in Dixon County and moving east toward Nashville. So a little bit earlier, we were projecting about 7:30, 7:35 on the storm being in downtown Nashville. Could be a little bit later than that now. We're at 7:15, and these things just aren't in a real hurry. So 7:35 might have been a little bit of a stretch there. I think it's going to be a little bit later, but they're not moving quite as fast as they were. So checking out some new communications from the Weather Service here, and not seeing a whole lot. They were seeing some stronger winds on radar a moment ago. David says over on Twitter, atmosphere is water loaded. Line that comes in will worsen flood concerns. Yeah, I love what he says here. Driving after 8 p.m. in Nashville is a bad idea. Absolutely. So it's going to be, driving's not going to be pleasant. And in fact, it may be dangerous in some places. As this rain comes through and pushes on through, it's going to get the creeks going. All right. Let's see here. We do have a camera. This is a camera up in Gallatin. We were showing them just a minute ago. They're getting a big downpour up there. This is actually a severe warned storm up in Sumner County, and that part of that storm that is severe warned is getting the camera pretty good there. And so it's a lot of water coming down up there at one time. That's just north of Gallatin, and that cell has a severe thunderstorm warning on it right now. That was over the northern tip of Davidson County a little bit ago. So back to radar, and let's do another check of the winds. We're in a severe thunderstorm warning here in Davidson County until 7:30, and so about another 15 minutes, and they'll determine at that point whether they need to extend the warning, cancel the warning. They've canceled a few warnings here in the past little bit, just because things have weakened. They pulse up and then they weaken, but so we'll see if they keep this going. But right now we're seeing winds. Here in the meat of the storm, we're seeing winds in the around 40, maybe some 50s in there. right on the front edge, you might get some strong gusts, but I'm not seeing anything that stands out, at least as I sit here, right here in this polygon, that just screams a damaging wind. But I got to tell you, this warning is in effect until 7:30, and I don't want to discount this being a problem. These kinds of setups here can produce strong gusty winds at the surface and really kind of be a mess. So it's going to be a wall of water. It could very well have strong gusty winds on the front end of it as it comes in. All right, so that would be the most likely area that I can see on radar. It would be really the front end of the storm is where we would see the strongest winds. And let me switch over here to TBNA, and let's see, TBNA showing, here we go. It's showing a little bit, here's some 53 mile an hour winds up here around the Dixon and Cheatham County line. So some strong winds there. And then further up the line, it kind of kinks a little bit there. It sort of makes a turn. So we're going to have to watch that carefully, make sure nothing tries to rotate in that. That would be up near Ashland City. And let me go back to the regular radar here. Yeah, right there near Ashland City. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as well, make sure it doesn't try to rotate. So let's talk about reports again. So we have a way here, and many of y'all are just so awesome at sending us reports. And so the best way to send us what you're seeing. So if you're seeing hail, if you're seeing damaging winds, you obviously got to be safe about it. Don't go out in the middle of a storm just to get a picture for us. But if you see something that looks like it was severe weather, please send that to us. Tweet using hashtag TSpotter, and Will is over there taking those reports. We've got just a scrolling line of reports that comes in. He grabs those, and he sends those to the Weather Service, especially those that we know that they're looking for specific things, and he does a great job with that. So send those to us. That we see all of them, and we really appreciate those. So feel free to send those to us. And let's see. Let's kind of put this in motion and see how this has been coming. Man, this line right here, this severe warning, has been going for a while. All right, so this has been coming across the Tennessee River and has been moving east for a while. It's been holding together pretty well and has occasionally shown severe characteristics. Had rotation for a while back there in Humphreys County, going into Dixon County. And then that weakened, and now it's got potentially some 50, 60 mile per hour winds in there, which is why the warning was issued for Davidson County. So that's where we are right now. All right, tell you what, I'm going to get a drink of water, and I'll be right back with you in just a second. Hang tight. All right, back with you now. We're going to jump over and look at TBNA real quick. Do have an area of enhanced winds getting itself together around Ashland City there. And so this would affect areas up around Baxter Road, and they're just north of Jolton. Pretty good area of 60 mile per hour winds being indicated on radar. It's kind of high up. It's up there around 1,700, 1,800 feet. But definitely an area of enhanced wind there on the order of 60 miles an hour. That's just around Ashland City and just north of town. And then that would be pushing to the northeast. All right, so let's put that in motion here, and you can kind of see how that evolved. And it just kind of pops up there. So definitely, if you're in the Jolton area, you could get some stronger winds with this as it's sort of getting its act together around Ashland City. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well. Let's go back over to the traditional radar and just kind of see how things are evolving here. So this is the radar loop over the past couple hours or so. Line of storms crosses the Tennessee River. Brief tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning now for Davidson County. That's until 7:30. We're going to find out here in the next few minutes whether they're going to continue with this warning, whether they're going to cancel the warning or let it expire or whatever. We're just going to have to see. So let's dive in just a little bit more. I want to keep checking the velocities here and see how things are doing. So again, I'm watching this real closely around Ashland City. Nothing too crazy there. However, could be some gusty winds right along the front here in eastern Dickson County. I'm moving into Cheatham County now, and so that, we're just going to have to keep an eye on this one. This is one of those we're just going to have to wait for it to get here. It's taking its time, and we're just going to have to wait for it to get here and see what it's doing. But right now, it doesn't look too threatening from the radar that I'm looking at here. But severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Davidson County until 7:30. All right, and that's it goes about another 10 minutes. All right, so they're trimming the warning back a little bit. You see, they just trimmed it back, took Montgomery out of it, part of Dixon. So they're trimming it as it moves east, and so that's good. But man, look at this wall of water. I mean, you don't, especially in February. What are we? February 28th here. It's fairly rare. Rare is the wrong word, but I would, I'm pretty surprised to see all these purples and pinks here in February. There in Cheatham County, y'all, that's a ton of water. All right, so it's moving east. It will most likely impact. The strongest rain looks to impact around Beeman Park, somewhere between Bells Bend, Joelton, and the county line off to the north. So Beeman Park here is just going to get drenched. All right, that's a lot of water that'll come down in a hurry. Could be some gusty winds with that as well. So that'll push east. Fontenelle, Skyline Village, Cedar Hill Park, they're on the north side around the Old Hickory Boulevard loop that kind of goes around there, crosses Dickerson Road, crosses I-24, I-65 up there on the north end. That's kind of where this is headed, and that's the strongest part of it. And I would say that if there's some damaging severe winds here, it would be right along this bow that sort of has formed here in the precipitation. All right, you kind of see this bow here, and actually a lot of lightning in there, so there's a lot of energy with it. Okay, and you kind of have this bow echo here in Cheatham County pushing toward the western side of Davidson County. That's, if I had to guess, if I had to bet, I would say that would be where the strongest winds would be in the storm. David says over on Twitter, this is important, and he's NerdClick scanning. He's looking for rotation. He says over on Twitter, he's NerdClick scanning all the data, looking for rotation, just not seeing anything. There's just really not a lot of rotation out there right now, which is a good sign. We like to see that. So it's just a heavy rain, straight line wind thing. So that's what we're looking at now. Even this cell down here in Williamson County just can't get its act together a lot. And we saw some indications on the weather balloon that we launched earlier that storms might have a little bit of trouble getting their act together and out ahead of the line here. And that's kind of what we're seeing. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's almost out of Williamson County, but it's just kind of having a hard time getting its act together. All right, so back up here to this cell in Cheatham County. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect here till 7:30, so about another 7 minutes, and we'll see what they do after that, whether they reissue it, whether they drop it for a while. We'll see what happens. So that'll happen here in the next 6 or 7, 8 minutes, something like that. All right, so again, let me go to the radar. Let's put it in motion here, and we're also going to, let's see here, check out what's going on in Midtown, actually. And this is facing east, but there's quite a bit of lightning. If you look off to the left, there's actually quite a bit of lightning from that storm that passed to the north of downtown. You see a bit of lightning there. This is Midtown looking east toward downtown. And so quite a bit of lightning there on the left side as that storm passed on the north side of Davidson County a little bit ago. But again, really non-severe up there. We haven't had any reports from the north side of the county. And so that's good. Hopefully no damage up there. Back to the radar. Let's check out the storm's kind of taking its time. We're starting to get some lightning here in Davidson County, so some cloud-to-ground strikes happening way out ahead of the rain. So these storms are, they might be a little bit tilted as you go up in the atmosphere, kind of tilted to the east, and some lightning showing up now in Davidson County, well outside of the rain. Okay, so this white dot here is a cloud-to-ground strike that happened there in the western part of Davidson County. And I'm telling y'all something, that is a lot of water falling out of the cloud in Ashland City. That is just a lot of water. So it's gonna come down fast. Shouldn't last too long, but the ground is saturated, and it's going to cause the creeks to come up. I just have a feeling about that. This would be very typical of this kind of event. Looks like we have a report of maybe a little bit of hail in here. That wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, actually, this is a correlation coefficient product. Won't get too nerdy with you here, but it kind of determines whether the things that it is bouncing off of, the radar beam, it's bouncing off of things, and if they're not the same, then it shows these kind of blues and greens and yellows. And so yeah, what I'm seeing here is that this pink area is actually probably a little bit of hail, and we just got a report of that. Some hail over, very small hail over near Ashland City, and that actually makes total sense from what we're seeing on the radar here. So there in Ashland City, those pinks and purples are probably some pea-sized hail coming down with the rain. And it's going to be pretty loud and pretty noisy there as that comes through. All right, so 4 minutes left on the severe thunderstorm warning if they decide to let it expire. So if they reissue it, we'll be back. We'll be staying on here for a while. And if they reissue that, so we'll have to see. That decision's made in the next 4 minutes or so to see what they're going to do with this warning, because our warning for Davidson County expires at 7:30. Okay, so right now I've got 7:26. So we'll see what happens. Let's go back over and look at winds. And yeah, pretty gusty winds still, right on the front side of it. Some gusty winds here still in western Cheatham County around Kingston Springs. And let's see. Oh yeah, we got definitely some possibility of hail here. I don't know how I didn't see that. There we go. All right, now I've got my hail icon up. So radar indicating here that, there could be some 1-inch hail, some severe size hail at least up in the storm here. And we're seeing that, that's falling as maybe pea size according to the reports. And it looks like here they are issuing a flash flood warning for more of Davidson County. That'll include Cheatham, Davidson, Macon, Smith, Sumner, Trousdale, Williamson, and Wilson. So a lot of your phones may go off here in about 5 seconds if they haven't already. So a new flash flood warning going off for Davidson and Williamson counties. That'll show up. We're going to get a lot of lines and polygons here, but I'll walk you through it on the radar. So a new flash flood warning coming out for Davidson and Williamson counties, at least parts of those counties here in a little bit. And if you're inside the flash flood warning polygon, that's gonna send the big alert off on your phone, okay, if you're within it. Here's your polygon for the flash flood warning. I'm gonna turn the radar off a second. And in fact, I'm gonna turn off the severe thunderstorm warnings so you can see who's involved in the flash flood warning. So Brentwood, you're included in this. Nashville, most of Davidson County is included in the flash flood warning. Up toward Old Hickory, Lakewood, Hermitage, Donaldson, Percy Priest Dam, most of Percy Priest Lake, back to Bellevue, Fairview, down toward Boston. Boston's down here, not quite included, but back to the northwest there, Natchez Trace Bridge. All you folks out there, your phones are probably going crazy for a flash flood warning. There for parts of Davidson and Williamson County. Guys, this is a lot of water coming down in a hurry, and so that's why this is issued. It's really a lot of water coming down fast. So if you live near a creek or live near a river or live near a stream that is flood prone, this is your call to action if you're inside that green polygon. As this line comes through, it's going to put down water in a hurry that's going to bring that creek up quickly. So we are completely saturated on the ground. Okay, the ground just can't hold any more water. The vegetation is dormant because we're in the wintertime, and it's just not going to hold it. It's going to shed all of that water, just like your rooftop does when it rains. It sheds all that water off right into the gutters and down to the ground. Same thing's going to happen with the ground. So it's not going to hold the water and not going to soak in. So that's why the flash flood warning is in effect there for Fairview, Brentwood, Nashville, all the way up into Sumner and Wilson counties. So really not a good idea to be driving out there tonight. Really try to avoid that. It's just not a good idea and a good night to be out. Storm over on the west side of Davidson County, showing a couple of pixels here up around 58, 60 miles per hour. They're on the west side of Davidson County. A lot of lightning coming in. So over on the Midtown camera, we're looking east here, but we're going to see a lot of lightning come in from the left side of this picture here in a little bit. As this storm moves closer, you can kind of see that there on the Midtown camera. Lightning is going to be a thing as this comes through too. A pretty strong storm. So looking here at some reports, looks like we had some flooding up in Robertson County a little bit earlier. And that doesn't surprise me a bit. And they've got even more water coming through now. So some flooded roads up there in Robertson County. And I think we're going to be seeing more of this as this next line comes through. You're looking at the Midtown camera here looking east. Severe thunderstorm warning has now expired for Davidson County. And so we're going to stay just a minute because last time we almost jumped off, a new warning was issued. So we're gonna stick with it just for a second, just in case they decide to reissue that warning. But right now, you can see quite a lightning show there on the left side of your screen. So that's for the storm that's coming in from actually behind this camera. And you're seeing the lightning there visible from downtown. Quite a bit of lightning for this time of year. You know, it's kind of weird to hear lightning and thunder this time of year, especially so much of it. Let's check radar again. This is back on the, let's check out Davidson County here. Flash flood warning in effect. No severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings in effect at this very moment. So this is, the new flash flood warning was issued about 5 minutes ago for Davidson and Williamson counties. And that is until 11 o'clock tonight. And so, hey, we would love to have some flooding reports. If you see any flooding in either of our two counties, let us know. Use that hashtag TSpotter, tweet us, let us know what you see, but please don't go down there close to the water. It's going to be moving too fast, and it's just not a good idea to be out there. But let us know if you see any flooding. Give us some cross streets, a location reference so we can let the Weather Service know. That would be great. Looking at velocities again, and yeah, this all looks subsevere to me. Just sitting here, as I sit here right now, this all looks subsevere wind-wise. But man, it is sure a lot of water and probably some hail in there as well. Radar saying could be looking at some 1-inch plus hail up in the storm on the northwestern side of Davidson County. And that's not making it to the ground as that size that we can tell. It's mostly much smaller hail. All right. Could have a new warning coming here in just a minute. We're going to stick with this. Normally, if the warning expires, we would jump off. We're going to hang with it just a minute because I have a feeling they might be going to reissue some stuff here. We're just going to see what happens here in the next few minutes. Let's go back to the Midtown camera just a second. I'm going to pull up some other stuff here. You're looking Midtown, looking east toward downtown. Just a lot of lightning out here for this time of year. Let's see here. I'm going to while you're watching that, I'm going to pull up here a different radar. And it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has come out now for Davidson and part of Williamson, scraping Williamson here a little bit. This is a different radar here. We haven't used it much, but shows the polygon here. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning that covers pretty much all of Davidson County, save Antioch and Cane Ridge area, and comes down to about the Creve Hall area, but includes most of Davidson County for the storm coming into just north of downtown here in the next few minutes. So this warning is in effect until 8:15. So we're looking at 45 minutes on this one. And this is for a storm that they're still watching it closely. Could be producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And it is moving to the, let's see here. Yeah. So it's moving east at 65. Okay. So, yeah, pretty gnarly stuff coming down there right now in western Davidson County. So Fontenelle, Joelton, Scottsboro, Haines, areas like that, getting a lot of rain right now. That'll be approaching the 65-24 split, which is right here on the north side of town. And so it'll be approaching there. And I mean, anybody on the interstates is really not going to enjoy driving in this. It's going to be pretty brutal for a little while there as you're driving on the interstate. And really, you got to watch out for ponding in this situation. It's going to come down quickly. The water is going to come down quickly. So got to watch out for that. So who's in and who's out of this warning? In Williamson County, most of Williamson County is not included in this. So Franklin is not included. The north part of Fairview is included. They're along Highway 96 that goes over to the interstate. Nolensville, no. Spring Hill, Thompson Station, no. You guys are not included, but mostly a Davidson County problem. With the strongest part of this storm. Let's go over to the Midtown camera here. Still a lot of lightning coming in with this from the west. So you're looking east, but this storm's going to come right over top of this camera and continue on into downtown, or really probably the worst part of this storm is going to go to the left of this camera and come into view on the left side. So that will probably happen here in the next few minutes. All right, we're going to switch over to a different radar here. We got all kinds of resources here at our disposal here. So looking at the hail product again, and man, there's just a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So it's saying it's still indicating could be, severe hail up in the storm here, but we haven't had any indication yet that this is reaching the ground. So we've had some pea-size hail reports, but not seeing anything very big out of this as far as hail goes. Velocities, looking up in the storm and seeing, could have some gusty winds with this, 35, 40, 50 mile per hour winds. And checking your reports here and your replies and looking to see if y'all are reporting any strong winds and not seeing much. Maybe some over in Kingston Springs, okay? Could be some down there. So not sure if it was from wind or what, but could be a little bit of wind damage down there in Kingston Springs. So we're going to treat this seriously. Potential for 60 mile per hour winds here, moving into central Davidson County now with this storm. As it's right over Beeman Park now. And again, as we said a little bit ago, a lot of hills and hollows out there, and this water is going to go down, all right? So it's going to go down in a hurry right into those creeks and streams, and there's a lot of them out in this area. And so the water is going to rush downhill quickly, all right? So anyway, you see a lot of these purples, reds. This is just a wall of water, all right? And let's go over to the, I'm going to pull up a camera here let's see if it's working. It's probably getting quite a bit of rain right now. Let's go up to the Goodlettsville camera. This is up looking west in Goodlettsville. I think this thing will go live in just a second. We got a static image here. I think it'll go live here in just a moment. We'll see if it does. But they're getting a lot of rain up there right now. And at least this is the last image we have from up there. And this was from just a couple of seconds ago, but they're getting a lot of rain. They're in Goodlettsville right now. This is along Main Street looking west, and they're in part of the cell right now as well, and just getting a ton of rain out of this. All right, so that's an example of what's going on up there. I am tremendously impressed with the way this storm is able to put out lightning. This cell is just cranking out cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. All right, this reminds me of something you would see in the summertime. So this is, kind of reminds me of one of those summer storms where we get just a lot of lightning out of it. So looking at velocities again, could be some strong velocities there inside the Brawley Parkway Loop. They're around North Nashville Metro Center. Could be some gusty winds there, but that's out ahead of the rain. Let's go over to TB in A, and it's showing a little bit more in the way of gusty winds. Yeah, right there where we were talking about, inside the Brawley Parkway Loop. This is Brawley Parkway, Highway 155. So inside the Brawley Parkway Loop around Haines, this would be around Buena Vista Pike. This right here is, let's see, that's going to be, I think, Clarksville Pike. Yeah, it is. That's Clarksville Pike there coming out of Bordeaux. And very strong winds there. It looks like up in the range of 55, 60 miles per hour. It could be possible there. And this is Highway 431 that goes right there. So really around Haines, the Haines neighborhood, around Buena Vista Pike, West Trinity Lane, and then Highway 431 there, which I believe is Trinity Lane. That's and approaching I-65, but really inside right around Metro Center, North Nashville, and up toward Haines is where the strongest winds are now. But those are being shown on radar here as being up in the 55, 60 mile per hour range here just in the past couple of minutes. So let's go ahead and put this in motion and kind of see how it has evolved. You see, we don't see a lot of the blues. We see them blossom up occasionally, and then they've kind of gotten their act together right here in North Nashville, up toward Whites Creek, Fontenelle, and right inside the Briley Parkway loop here. So, again, David's over on Twitter. He's talking about the cloud-to-ground lightning as well, and also the new severe thunderstorm warning that we saw issued just moments ago here for Davidson County. And that stretches really north to south all the way across most of Davidson County. Not much of Williamson County included in this. And I'm going to turn the radar off so you can kind of see that a little bit better. If you're just joining us here in the past few minutes, north of Fairview, you guys are included in it. That area right around Highway 96 and I-40, that small little bit of I-40 that goes through Williamson County. And you folks are included in the severe thunderstorm warning. Other than that, not much of Williamson County included. Most of this is a Davidson County issue. And could have some 60 mile per hour winds as what they're saying in the warning. And we're seeing that on radar here, coming right around Germantown, coming inside the interstate loop, the 65, 24, 40 interstate loop around Nashville. We're seeing those potentially 60 mile an hour winds coming inside that loop. All right, so here's the Midtown camera. And we can see that those clouds coming in. We see the heavy rain coming in. You're looking the left side of your screen. You can see where it looks hazy there above the ground. Yeah, that's all that lightning there. That is the cell coming in the interstate loop there, coming right over downtown. And just a lot of lightning and a lot of rain. So you're looking at the Midtown camera here. This is facing east. And the storm that we are watching on radar that we were just showing is on the left side of the left half of your screen, and on the right half is there's no rain at this point. So you're looking at the heaviest part of the storm there is on the left, and you'll just kind of see this envelop where the camera is, and kind of envelop downtown and Midtown here in the next couple of minutes. And so I'm going to go over here and check out. While you're watching the Midtown camera there, I'm watching on radar really a wall of water covering the north half of downtown. That's very clear on radar. Could be some small hail in there as well. So we're watching that too. So a lot of lightning with this. I'm looking up all the way from the northern tip of Davidson County. While you're watching the camera, I'm looking at radar and seeing the lightning strikes. A lot of lightning coming in on the lightning network, all the way from the northern part of Davidson County, all the way down the 65, 24 corridors, all the way down into downtown. Just a lot of lightning with this. It's a very electrical storm, and a lot of water coming down with it, as we've been saying. So yeah, you kind of see downtown's disappearing a little bit in the haze, and that's some torrential downpours that have come through Germantown, near Fisk University, on into downtown, and will continue moving generally to the east and to the southeast over the next few minutes. So severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:15. That's for about another 30 minutes for Davidson County. You're looking at the Midtown camera here. David's over on Twitter, keeping the tweets up to date, doing a great job with that. Will's over there taking your reports. Send us anything that you find might be severe weather or something the Weather Service needs to know about. We would love to see that. Use hashtag TSpotter in a tweet. Let us know where you are, and we would love to see that. That kind of gives us some awareness of what's happening on the ground. So we can see from the cameras kind of what's going on from a distance. Now we can see on radar what's going on up above the ground. But it's a little bit hard to know exactly what's happening on the ground. So your tweets really do help us with that using TSpotter. Seeing some video clips coming in on Twitter from Germantown, a bunch of rain, a bunch of wind. So clicking on a couple of those here, seeing those. I know you can't see these, but yeah, winds look pretty gusty actually coming through the Germantown area just a second ago. Just looking at one of those video clips somebody sent in just a second ago. So yeah, it's pretty gusty as it came through. Let's go back to radar. And while we do this, the line has sort of congealed a little bit. It's getting a little bit more together into a line. And I'm going to mute for just a second, grab a sip of water, and I'll be right back. All right, back with you here. You're looking at radar here. This is you're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning here. You're looking at reflectivities, some very heavy rain coming in. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect till 8:15 for Davidson County and just a sliver of Williamson County. All right, so let's go over to TB&A. I'm very interested in the velocities with this. Let's go check that out. And earlier we were looking at potentially some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts there around Metro Center and around Bordeaux and North Nashville neighborhood. Excuse me, and over toward Germantown. And not seeing as much of that anymore. However, it still appears there could be some gusty winds here on the south side of downtown, right there around Lafayette, 8th Avenue, Murfreesboro Road, 2nd Avenue as it goes out. That's going to be... yeah, that becomes Lebanon Road there. So pretty gusty winds there, 50-mile-an-hour range, looks like on radar being indicated. That's at about 500, 600 feet. So definitely possible. We could see some of those gusty winds continue pushing southeast over toward Shelby Park, over toward Trevecca, and eventually out toward B&A. In time here a little bit. So, yeah, it's a pretty mean storm. It means business as it's been coming through. It's kind of taken its time. It hasn't been just flying through here. It's not moving really as fast as we would like. So it's putting in a lot of rain and a lot of water. So let me check out some replies here. Somebody said, hydrate. Yes, I appreciate that. You can get a little thirsty when you're talking for an hour or so, and actually we've been talking all afternoon and all evening, so the voice can get a little bit tired. But anyway, appreciate that. Yes, got a big cup of water here, so ready to go. All right, so let's check out what's going on back to the west, because Williamson County is going to have to deal with this too eventually. Not the same warned storm, but Williamson County. I mean, you guys got to get some rain here sooner or later, right? So. I was actually just looking. There's a report here, the John C. Toone Airport. So that's back here, and turn the radar off here. John C. Toone is right here, right near the Cumberland River, right in one of the bends of the Cumberland River, near the Nations neighborhood. They had a wind gust here of 54 miles an hour as this came through. All right, so that was just recorded a little bit ago. So 54 miles per hour at John C. Toone. That's not messing around. That's a pretty strong wind gust. All right, so that tells me that really there's just a general threat of straight line winds up and down this line and through this warning. Strongest winds right now appear to be right here between Rivergate Mall and down toward Lakewood. All right, that appears to be where the strongest winds are. But really, some of these winds have been showing up in places where the radar just hasn't depicted it really well. All right, so we can't say there's not wind occurring out there, because there very well could be. And we're getting some reports here of plus 50-mile-an-hour winds that maybe didn't display on radar really well. So really strong winds possible out there with this cell. This cell will be out of Davidson County probably in the next 15 minutes. And right now it's coming into Hendersonville, getting very near the Weather Service office over here in northwestern Wilson County, where the radar is located. So you'll see a big donut there in the radar returns here in a little bit when the cell moves over their radar site. So, but just torrential downpours there from Rivergate, Goodlettsville, all the way down there through Amqui, Madison. That's Gallatin Road there that comes all the way into Nashville. And man, that's a lot of rain. All right, that's coming all the way through Madison around Good Pasture School there. and quite a lot of water, and probably some hail too. Let's see. Not seeing a ton of hail, but could definitely be some small hail falling there, especially between Amqui and up toward Rivergate Mall. Let's see, what other reports do we have, either from the Weather Service or from you guys? So, yeah, a lot of you guys just kind of keeping us updated on, where the heavy rain and wind is at your place. Some of you saying you had some rough weather, no obvious wind damage, no hail. That was out there in White Bluff. So they're in Dixon County. So that's good. That didn't happen. So, yeah, thank you all for keeping us updated. That's a big help. Okay, so right now it appears that a weaker part of this line is going to be approaching Williamson County. Okay, so we got some cells coming in here that really don't look too impressive right now on velocities. Got some heavy rain in there embedded, but it really doesn't look anything yet like what we saw up here in northern Davidson County here just a few minutes ago, and is in fact going through Lakewood and Old Hickory right now. I mean Old Hickory, that is a ton of water. All right, and quite a few lightning strikes there as well. So all the way up there around Old Hickory Boulevard, just a bad place to be driving right now. That's going to be over in Wilson and Sumner County here in just a little bit. But for just a little while, we got to deal with this thing as it keeps moving east. All right, so let's check velocities again. Just make sure nothing's misbehaving, and rotation-wise, not seeing anything there. Really not. I know you guys are thinking about March 3rd, and David mentioned on Twitter just a little bit ago. I know you're thinking about that. We're just really not seeing anything yet that resembles anything like something we need to be worried about as far as tornadoes go. But heavy rain, yes. Straight line winds, very possibly. Looks like some power blinking up there in Hendersonville. So the storm means business. Could definitely put power out for a little while. Let's go back out and loop the radar here, and then we're going to go back to the Midtown camera here in just a second. Still a pretty big light show going on in the Midtown camera. We'll go there in just a second. But just to show you, if you're in Williamson County, your time is coming for some rain. You got these cells coming in from the west, and Hickman County, down in Perry County, Humphreys County, all that's moving to the northeast. And some of us in Williamson County are included in a flash flood warning, and that's in effect for several more hours here. That very possibly could be extended down to the southeast and include more of us. But really, one of the main worries right now is going to be the water, and that's why that flash flood warning is in effect. All right, let's go over and take a look at the Midtown camera here. Still seeing quite a bit of lightning. It's not tapering off much, maybe just a hair, maybe tapering off just a little bit around downtown and just barely to the north. The main part of the storm is moving on into Sumner County, so it's the lightning will start tapering off a little bit here in Metro over the next little bit, but still dangerous enough you don't need to go outside and go out there in the storm. There's no need to do that. Seeing a little bit of reports of some hail over there in Hendersonville. Probably some small hail, probably the same small hail we were seeing over there in Cheatham County and maybe in parts of Davidson as well. But man, I'm telling you, it is just so weird to see this in February. To see this right here. I mean, the purples and the pinks. You're looking at this is the radar site right here. So this is the National Weather Service radar is located here. It has a great read on it, but man, that's just a ton of water crossing Walton Ferry Road. It's crossed Old Hickory Boulevard, going into the neighborhoods there around Curtis Cross Road there in Sumner County, right around Old Hickory Lake. And that's just that's pretty impressive to see those sort of radar returns, precipitation-wise, here at the end of February. So it does resemble something you'd see more in the summer or the spring. All right, so what may happen here in just a little bit is as this really strong area of rain moves over the radar site, sometimes we can see an overall drop in the radar returns because the radar beam physically has a problem getting through the crazy rainfall rates that are falling on top of it. So it's entirely possible that it may not see some of these returns very well here in just a little bit, and we'll wait for that to come come back in just a second. Actually, the Weather Service is noting here, I'm seeing a note from them, they've got half-inch diameter hail that was reported in Old Hickory. All right, so that was, half-inch hail is decent size. That'll make a lot of noise. So it's not considered severe hail. Hail needs to be 1 inch in diameter, quarter-size hail to be considered severe. But I think what it's telling us is that this purple and pink right here is probably a bunch of hail. And actually, yeah, looking here on the radar, you kind of see how it's not red and pink returns here. It's kind of blue. This is pretty obviously a pretty good hail shaft here. And so quite a bit of hail, it looks like, is falling there. But let's see, what are some of the roads up here? Rebecca Drive. Those of you who live up in Old Hickory probably know where this is, over across the river, across the lake. Saunders Ferry Road, right over there, not too far from the Weather Service office there on Old Hickory Lake. A lot of hail falling up there, it looks like. And half-inch diameter hail was what was reported there in Old Hickory from this just moments ago. So that's a hailer that has now moved over into Sumner County, and so the hail should have stopped and waned in almost all of Davidson County. Maybe a little bit of hail falling down here around Chute Lane in Davidson County, and some of those neighborhoods there. So yeah, this is Chute Lane that comes off of Lebanon Road there, and goes over toward Old Hickory Boulevard. So could be a little bit of hail falling there, but it doesn't look quite as strong as what's falling up here. That's quite a bit of hail, to be honest with you, up there in the Old Hickory Lake communities south of Hendersonville on the peninsula. I believe that's what they call this, the peninsula out there in Old Hickory Lake in Hendersonville. So that's a pretty big neighborhood down there, and they've got quite a bit of hail falling, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, David's over there on Twitter talking about the rarity of seeing these purples and pinks this time of year on radar. So you see this right here. This is the radar site. If you've ever wondered where it was, it's pretty clear now. So this is the radar site where we get all of our radar data for Nashville. I say all of it. We use different radars, but this is a primary one that we use, and the hail and the rain is directly over top of it right now. So that's going to push off to the east. At the moment, it looks to be out of Davidson County, so it looks like the strongest weather is now out of Davidson County. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning that is technically in effect until 8:15. That's about another 15 minutes. And the Weather Service is saying they do have hail falling at their office, and it looks like it is up to nickel-sized hail at their office. So that's the same hail core that went through Old Hickory, through the peninsula there, the neighborhoods there south of, or in Hendersonville along the lake, and has now moved over their office, and they're looking at nickel-sized hail falling there at the Weather Service office. So that's not fun. That's pretty loud stuff there. So let's go back and look in the rest of Davidson County now that storm is kind of pushed east. I'm looking to see, actually, let me check some of your reports over here and see what you're saying about what you're seeing. And looks like we got time-lapse of the storm. We've got pea-size hail report. We've got a couple of other things. So, yeah, we got some hail report coming in here. This is, and you're looking at radar. I'm looking over here at some reports. Not quite quarter size, a little bit smaller than quarter size. That was over there in Hendersonville. So, yeah, pretty consistent with what we're hearing. All right, so back over here on radar. Let's go over to the Midtown camera just a second. Still got a lot of lightning out there. We're looking at the back side of the storm now as it's pushed on over into Wilson County and Sumner County, kind of right along the Cumberland River and Old Hickory Lake. And it's going to kind of take that to the northeast. But here in Davidson County, we're left with some rain and some thunder and lightning here that's, not nearly as heavy as what you had a little bit ago. However, Williamson County is kind of going to get their turn here soon. So this line that's coming through Hickman County and is moving into Williamson County doesn't look quite as strong at this point as what we're seeing back up in Davidson County and further to the north. But quite a bit of water coming in from Hickman County, from Perry County and moving northeast. That's going to be the Williamson County issue over the next little bit. So we're going to keep an eye on that. See if anything goes severe. At the moment, it doesn't look like that at all. David over on Twitter is mentioning that as the line moves east, the ever-decreasing tornado risk comes with that. And that's worth mentioning. You notice we had a tornado warning here, polygon here in Humphreys County, and that disappeared pretty quickly as the rotation kind of spiked and then fell apart relatively fast. And we really haven't seen any tornado concerns since then. So that was really the last time we saw a tornado issue. That was back just east of the Tennessee River. And getting now, actually, we were talking about the peninsula over there on the Old Hickory Lake in Hendersonville. It looks like they're getting pictures now in of hail that anywhere from dimes. Looks like we got that's awfully close to quarters up there in the on the peninsula in Indian Lake. There in Hendersonville. So that was quite a hailer that came through. That was quite a hailer that came through Old Hickory and south side of Hendersonville just moments ago. Okay, so again, this severe thunderstorm warning, the storm has exited Davidson County that prompted the severe thunderstorm warning for the most part. So there is still rain and some storms in Davidson County, but the main cell has pushed to the east. That warning that covers us here in Davidson County expires in 15 minutes. All right, so this will disappear in 15 minutes. Not really expecting anything to be issued in the next few minutes here in Williamson County. Not seeing anything velocity-wise that's too worrisome. Everything looks pretty tame. Checking another radar here as well, looking down in Williamson County. Things looking pretty tame in Williamson. So not currently worried about much there in Williamson as far as straight line winds go, anything like that. But we're gonna keep watching that. So we're getting more concerned here about flash flooding. And we need to mention again the flash flood potential here, and that there is a flash flood warning in effect. And I'm going to turn a few things off here, okay? I'm going to turn the radar off, and then I'm going to turn off the severe thunderstorm warning. And so what we're left here, and I'm also going to turn off our lightning right there, all right? So what we're left here with is the flash flood warnings. So there are two flash flood warnings that cover our areas. One of them is a flash flood warning that covers the far northern tip of Davidson County. All right, that covers the northern part of Joelton. It covers the far northern tip of Davidson County up toward Ridgetop. And then there's another flash flood warning that covers almost all of Davidson County and a good part of Williamson County on the northwest side. So from Brentwood back to the Natchez Straits Bridge, down toward Fernvale, Chester Estates, they're in Fairview, Blakemont Estates, Brush Creek, the Highway 96, Highway 100 area out there in Pasco. And so these folks are included in a flash flood warning. And it looks like they are actually canceling the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to turn that back on, and this should disappear here in the next few seconds as the severe thunderstorm warning is canceled, and there it goes. So there are currently no severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warnings in effect anywhere in our two counties. So we are left with flash flood warnings that cover most of Davidson County, the northwestern part of Williamson County, and those may be expanded. So be sure not to drive in floodwaters. Don't drive, if there's water over the road, don't drive through it. If you live near a creek or a stream, it could come up tonight, and you just need to be aware of that. So turn around, don't drown, some of those phrases we use. Just don't drive through the floodwaters. We're going to be watching that closely. We're going to be watching the river and stream gauges closely. And we'll be mentioning those over on Twitter as they rise. We'll be mentioning the gauges and levels over there on Twitter as well this evening. So, hey, that's going to be it here on YouTube Live for a while. We're going to jump off of here. We're going to keep doing our coverage over on Twitter. and Dave is going to keep up with that. I'm going to be watching river levels, stream levels, and the gauges, and Will's going to be taking your reports over there. Hashtag T-Spotter on Twitter. If you see anything that's worth reporting, severe-wise, hail, wind damage, anything like that, flooding, safely, if you can, safely send us those reports, and we would love to have those. We'll pass those along to the Weather Service. Y'all have a great night. Stay safe out there. We'll talk to you soon.